Welcome to the 100-pound experiment. How I lost weight on a cruise ship, which should be illegal. In October 2025, I was 345 pounds. That was something that I couldn't understand or accept anymore. That's where I was about to turn 60. November 14th, 1965 is when I was born. And 2025, November 14th, was my 60th birthday. And I looked at my life and I decided that's not going to keep going on. I mean, walking upstairs was an issue. You know, going anywhere, doing anything was a struggle. And I realized that I had a serious problem, and it was quite an addiction to food. Well, I went and had my blood work done, and that's when the truth came out. So it turns out, at that level, I was 52% body fat. Now think about that for a minute. 52% body fat. That means roughly 190, almost 200 pounds of my body was just reserve fuel. How does that happen? I literally was walking around with a human being on my body, the equivalent of an entire human being in just fat. That can't be acceptable, and there's no way I'm going to live a long time if I allow that to continue. So I figured, okay, well, I'm going to have to do something about it. But you know, I've tried everything, like I'm sure you have. And what I did, I decided that one of the things I love doing is cruising. I do scuba diving, so I'll do the Caribbean cruises. I love NCL. I've been on probably 55, 60 cruises with NCL. I've tried Carnival and I've tried Virgin. And nothing against them, but where I'm most comfortable and where I seem to be the happiest is actually NCL. I'm literally going to make ambassador level this year, and if you don't know what that means, it's the highest loyalty level you can get with this company. So it takes a long time, but you know what? It's not about the goal, it's about the journey, right? So even when I look at that and I look at how I wanted to change things in my own life, I decided, well, the journey has to be enjoyable. So the very first thing I did was make a decision that I needed to lose 100 pounds. That's a good start. That'll get me to 245 pounds, which is within about 25 pounds of my ideal weight. And the rest of it, you know, at that point there, I can deal with it. But I had this number in my head, 100 pounds. So when I got on the very first cruise in October, it was November, I started to a new system. I started experimenting with different ideas, and after I saw that blood work and I was basically a diabetic, my kidneys were starting to fail, my blood work basically said I had liver issues, kidney issues, you know, that my cholesterol was high. You know, you've all seen it. If you also are experiencing the weight issues, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, you're basically walking around and it's a ticking time bomb. So I said, that's not going to continue. November, I got myself weighed just at the beginning of November, 339. I knew what my blood work was. I got on the NCL Encore, and I was on for about 6 weeks. And when I first got on, there's a go-kart track there. And the go-kart track looked like a lot of fun. So when I went to go use it, they told me I couldn't go on because I was too heavy. I didn't understand it, and they said it's a 300-pound weight limit. So I told my buddy Darren, who was with me at the time, that I am going to ride this go-kart. So I booked other cruises, came back. Well, so I finished November and just part of December, went home, came back in January, did another 6 weeks in January and February, where I continued my experiment. And I'm going to give you all the tracking and all my real-time data and my blood work results, because when I came back after that first time, my blood levels had changed completely. I went from being a diabetic at 6.7 AIC down to 5.4, which my doctor had no clue how I did it. And my blood pressure dropped. I healed my kidneys. They're still a little bit, but they're on their way back. My liver was completely healed, and I was able to now start walking a lot more, which is something that all of us need to be able to do. And it turns out walking was one of the most important elements besides the food that I choose. And I added in the most important thing. I started with it because every time I've dieted before, it was all about the hunger, and it was driving me crazy because, as far as I understand it, hunger pain is very similar to the brain as a broken leg. Well, I can take medicine for a broken leg, but the only thing I can do about my hunger pain is eat, which, of course, is why I got up to 345. In fact, my highest level was 360. And I'm just giving this as sort of like the context of what it is that I want to teach you over the next 10, 15, 20 episodes, however long. And of course, anybody that wants to learn more, I'm inviting you to hit the subscribe button, and then maybe we'll do some private coaching. I'm very happy to share what I've learned, because I think saving my life is important, but saving your life is just as important. So now here we are. It is May 7th, 2026. I'm in Alaska right now on the Norwegian Jade. Weighed myself today, 285 pounds. And if you're really curious how I got there and how I've healed myself and what it is that I'm doing, please continue watching these episodes. I think you're going to learn a lot, and we're going to have some fun along the way. Thank you.